The most important detoxification mineral in the world is not what you think. And I'm going to reveal it right here shortly, but I want to see if you can guess what it is. So comment down below. The big mistake that people make with detoxification is they have this idea that I have too many toxins. I'm overloaded with toxins. No, that's not usually the problem. The problem is you have a detoxification problem. Your body is having a difficult time getting rid of the toxins. This is very different. If detox was a pyramid, at the very top would be glutathione. Okay, that is the master detoxification enzyme of the entire body, but requires a mineral. Glutathione doesn't just work in the liver. It works within every single cell in your entire body. And it even does a lot of work in the mitochondria. This is the energy factory of your body. Glutathione protects the mitochondria more than just about everything. So it will neutralize things like hydrogen peroxide. You might have some hydrogen peroxide in your bathroom where you put it on a sore and you see it kind of bubble up and it disinfects certain things, but your own body makes hydrogen peroxide to kill off microbes and do other things, and it's very, very corrosive. So we have glutathione to help keep it in check so it doesn't end up damaging your own cells, including the mitochondria. Glutathione also is super important in protecting damage in the membranes of the mitochondria, in the membranes of all of your cells. So this is a cell and you have a membrane around it. Well, glutathione is important to protect that, and also you have membranes around all the different things inside the cell. Glutathione protects that. It also protects the DNA of the mitochondria, and it helps other antioxidants work as well. And I want to mention something about antioxidants. A lot of them clean up the damage after the damage has been done, but glutathione is preventing the damage from occurring in the first place. Very different. And when glutathione is low, toxins do not leave your body. They get stuck and then they recirculate. And this is why people get tired. They feel depleted. They have brain fog. They get headaches because they're low in glutathione. People on keto, or when they lose more weight, they are losing more fat. And these toxins are stored in the fat, so they can come out and you can feel pretty bad if you don't have enough glutathione. The most important function of glutathione is not to protect the liver. It's to protect the mitochondria, because there's so many diseases that relate to dysfunctional mitochondria, especially cancer. The specific area that these toxins attack on the mitochondria is this thing right here, the electron transport chain. Now, what the heck is that? That's just a part of the mitochondria, the last part of the assembly line that helps make ATP or energy. That's where a lot of toxins mess up your energy, and also in this membrane that has this mechanism or this factory inside it. So people that don't have enough glutathione build up more toxicity in the mitochondria, then they can't make energy. Well, guess what? You need energy to detoxify. So the person is literally bathing in these toxins, and it's just recirculating, and they feel very, very toxic and especially tired, and they get inflammation. And then they get this idea, oh my gosh, I have too many toxins. I have to go on another detox. No, you don't. You need to strengthen your detoxification system. And so glutathione helps the fat-soluble toxins go out through the body. Now, another big toxicity in our bodies is seed oils, because they're highly inflammatory and they embed into the membranes. Glutathione helps prevent the damage to these membranes that are destroyed from these toxins. Why can't I just take the supplement glutathione and just call it a day? Well, the problem is glutathione is very poorly absorbed, and when you take it, it breaks down very quickly. So your body prefers that you make it. I have a free download that I want to give to you. This free download is my daily routine in the checklist. This is a routine that I use every day to feel like I'm 18 years old, even though I'm 60 years old. And I want to give it to you for free. And so there's a little link down below. Click it and definitely download that. And so now the question is, how does the body make this? What does it need to make it? Well, it needs a couple amino acids like cyan and glycine from animal meat, especially red meat, can help you detoxify. In fact, it's a necessary building block. But also this one tiny trace mineral called selenium. A trace mineral is a mineral that's needed in very tiny amounts. Okay, I'm talking micrograms, very tiny amounts, but it's involved in a lot of important things. One of the most important things is the activation of glutathione. When I've done other videos on selenium, I've always talked about the thyroid, right? The activation from the T4 to the T3. And what a lot of people don't realize is that if the thyroid is under functioning, it cannot make bile. If you cannot make enough bile and you don't get the flow of bile that goes down here, you cannot detoxify. Bile is the primary route of how these toxins get eliminated through the intestinal tract. And without a good functioning thyroid, you can't make enough bile to allow this to happen. And this is why people with hypothyroidism get constipation. You can't get rid of excess estrogen, but it's not just the production of bile, it's also the flow of bile requires a good functioning thyroid. This is why selenium is so important for not just the thyroid, but for detoxification. Even the contraction of the gallbladder requires a good functioning thyroid. And if someone has a low functioning thyroid, they tend to get gallstones. And so what happens? This bile is supposed to get released into this little tube into your small intestine. Right at the level of the small intestine, there's a little valve that's supposed to release it. That little valve is also connected to this thyroid. So we need a good thyroid to allow this whole thing to happen. What are some good sources of selenium? The best source is Brazil nuts. All you really need is 2 Brazil nuts a day to get all of the selenium you need. Eggs are another good source of selenium if they're high-quality eggs. Organ meats are another source. Cruciferous vegetables do have some selenium in them. Also, shellfish and certain seafood has selenium. And if you think about certain fish that have higher amounts of mercury, they usually have high levels of selenium to bind and neutralize that mercury. This is why selenium is so important. But here's the big problem. Modern day soils just don't have near the amount of selenium that's needed. And so a lot of things suffer of our ability to detoxify, our ability for the thyroid to work, the ability for our immune system to work. So again, it's not just about this toxic overload, it's about a failing detoxification system because you don't have the raw material to allow glutathione to work. But I just want to emphasize one more time the importance of this bile in the ability to detoxify, because a lot of times people don't realize this important connection. Also, if you decide to go on a detox, I highly recommend you either take some bile, like something called tutka, maybe a few days before you do that detox. So that way, when you start releasing some of these toxins in the liver and they come out, you have enough bile to transport them out. So many people that I know, and I've done videos on this, they do a detox without putting attention on bile and everything backs up in the liver, and they have a lot of pain underneath their right rib cage. The pain refers up to their neck and their head. They get headaches, especially on the right side of the body, and they're like, what's going on? Well, you're getting a lot of toxicity coming through here, but you don't have enough bile to release it. So the whole thing just backs right up. So a lot of people ask me, what supplements do I recommend? Now, of course, I'm not biased of my own high quality supplement line, but if you go to Amazon and type Dr. Berg supplements, you'll find more information. And also realize there's 2 types of bile salts. You have the bile that's made by your liver, but you also have a lot of bile that is made by your own microbes lower in your digestive tract. And so microbes make bile too. And then the whole thing gets recycled. You recycle like 90% of your bile. And so another missing piece of the puzzle is not having enough of the right microbiome to make your bile. So you have to look at the whole system and understand it. Okay, do I have enough bile? Is my thyroid working? Do I have enough selenium? Do I have a healthy gut microbiome to be able to make enough bile to have this whole thing work? Because as we get more and more exposed to plastics, forever chemicals, pesticides, insecticides, junk foods, etc., we have a couple choices. We can live in a bubble and completely try to avoid all of it, which is really hard. Or why not just build up your detoxification system with the right precursors so you have enough of the right antioxidant to deal with this overwhelming toxicity that we're living in. So I think this was a very important video, but there is another super powerful antioxidant in that mitochondria that's even more important than glutathione.